You're watching Adorama TV.
Welcome to Adorama TV. Today we're going to take another look at an iPad application that I really like. But before we do, I'd like to announce some good news from Livebooks. Last week they announced iPad support for their online portfolios. So if you're a user of Livebooks, you now have that familiar swipe interface for your portfolios. Well, now I'd like to take a look at Photogene. It's an iPad application that I really like. Photogene is an application that allows you to adjust your photos in the iPad. So this one, when it begins, it lets you go to your last session or the last photo that you edited, or you can go to your photo albums. And I'm going to go through here, and I went bowling with some friends last year, and I have some of those images. So I'm going to choose this one of my friend Jay Sandifer, and here he is after he bowled a perfect strike. Now I'd like to adjust this image, so I'm going to go and explain to you the different icons at the lower part of the screen. The first one, the scissors, is for the crop functionality. So I can go in here and I have these ratios on the right side of the screen. So I can choose a familiar ratio like a 4:3 ratio, a 3:4 for horizontal, a 3:2. And then once I have that ratio, or I can use a custom ratio, I can control that by just dragging my crop around, and then I can drag this, and it has a nice rule of thirds guide on here to help you out. So once I have my crop and I like that, I can just hit crop, or I can hit cancel. So I'm going to hit cancel for right now. This second icon here, these little arrows, allow you to adjust your image by rotating it. So you can rotate it to the right or to the left. You can flip it upside down. You can do all kinds of things. The other thing that you can do is you can straighten a photo. So let's say we had a horizontal line that we didn't like a horizon. Well, we can drag this and we can straighten an image, which is really powerful if you're a scenic photographer. Now, the nice thing is, let's say you mess this up totally and you don't like it, you can just hit the reset button and it will reset your image for you. So that is the straighten feature, which is really nice. Now these are called macros, this icon right here with the little images. Now these macros are presets that you can use to create custom effects. So we can go in here and let's say we want to have a nice 40s vintage look. Well, there's a 40s vintage macro, and it will do all kinds of stuff like add a vignette, desaturate the image, rotate it a little bit. Let's say, no, we're a little bit older than that. We'd like to have a 70s vintage look, where I can push this, and that will give us some of that cross-processing of the colors. And let's say that we don't want any macro, we can just hit no macro. Or if you want a psychedelic effect, bam, you can hit that. You can also create your own custom macros in this application. And so we have some functionality down here. You can save and edit macros. So we don't have time enough to do that today, so we're going to keep going. So I want to get rid of this macro, so I'm going to go back here to no macro. But the macros are really nice for very fast edits. Now the next one down here is this little filter. Now, if you're familiar with Photoshop, you'll be familiar with filters. These filters allow you to do things like sharpen an image, or if you want an edge blur, you can push that there. You get those. You can do some night vision stuff. So if you want that, desert storm look, you can click that and you get some really crazy stuff. Or I can just go back to my original. Now, the nice thing is if you mess up on any of these settings and you want to fix things, there is this image right here. And that is sort of like a recycle bin. It goes all the way back to the start, and so you go back to your original image. It's like a revert button. Now let's say we don't like the colors. Now this is something that's really powerful. There's this color adjust button. Now you can adjust a bunch of different things here. The first is the exposure. So if you have something that's slightly underexposed or overexposed, you can adjust that with the exposure slider. You can adjust the contrast. You can give it lots of contrast or less contrast. You can adjust just your highlights or your shadows, which is very powerful. I've not seen an iPad application that gives you that kind of control, which is really nice. You can also adjust the saturation, so you can take some of that color out, or you can really make it crazy. And then I really like this slider. So you can actually adjust the color temperature. So if you want to warm it up or cool it off, you can drag that for a little bit warmer look or cooler look, which is really groovy. Or if you mess it up again, you can reset that. Now this is all really nice, but you have some more advanced features. So you actually have a levels dialog here, and this gives you levels that are very familiar for us users for most image editing applications. So you can drag the highlights over and say where you want those to start. You can drag your midpoint, and you can even drag your darks in, so you can really give your image a punch. It has auto levels if you want to do that, and of course you can reset that. And then you can even have more control than that. You can actually adjust your color channels, so your red, green, and blue channels. So if you want to take some of that green out, you can, or add it in, make him look like a Martian, you can do that. So that's really nice. But if you want more power than just the levels, we even have a curves dialog. The nice thing about this is you can give yourself, some more contrast or less contrast based on how you adjust your curves. And if you're familiar with curves, this might seem elementary because there's only one control point. But you can actually add control points here. So you can add another one, and so you can start doing some nice adjustments to your curves. And you can have up to 3 different control points in the middle of the curve in addition to the ones at the very end of your curves adjustment. And then, of course, you can reset if you mess things up. Now, let's say we want to add some punch and send this to Mom. We can hit this little star icon, and it gives us some symbols. So Jay just bowled a strike. I can hit this little call out here, drag it over, and then I can double tap. And when I do that, I get a little dialog, and I can say strike. And then I can hit that. I'll say, okay, I really like that. Now I have Jay saying strike. I can make this a little bit bigger, drag it out. And that's pretty groovy. I can change colors of the text and the color of the call out itself. And there's all these different custom functions that you can do, so you can customize this to be exactly like you like it. Once you have that, let's say you want to put a frame on this. So you have a bunch of preset frames. So I want to have a nice rounded corner frame. There it is. That looks pretty darn good. I can make it into a postage stamp if I want to. I can do some film effects. I sort of like that postage stamp one. That's pretty cool. So we have our picture now of Jay saying strike, but I think there's too much information there, so I want to crop this. Now, what if I want to go back all the way to the beginning, push the scissors? I want to crop this in a little bit, so I'm going to keep the strike in there, but I want to keep it about like that. I want to get rid of some of that. What would happen to this? Do I have to do everything over again? Absolutely not. When I hit crop, boom, everything comes along for the ride that I've done. And I can go and do adjustments like that throughout the entire menu of this application. It's very, very powerful. Now, once this is done, if you want to share it, you can push this little button right up here. You can put this to Twitter or Facebook. You can put it in your clipboard. You can email the photo, and you can determine what resolution you want to share that in. Or if you just want to save it to your iPad, you can save it in the original format, or you can do it in any of these different resolutions so that you can compress that and save space. It's a very powerful application, and if you get lost, which I don't think you will, there's even a tutorial that you can go through for Photogene. So that's Photogene, a very, very powerful image editing application for the iPad. Well, thanks for joining us for another episode of Adorama TV. Remember, if you have any iPad application questions or photography-related questions in general, you can send them to me at askmark@adorama.com. I'll see you next time.
This episode is brought to you by Adorama TV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center, where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.